If you've got this, or this, you can use the Freemax Marvos RTA Pod. Yeah, it's good to see a spring mechanism in place. That'll help keep the cotton pressed firmly against the mesh. Don't want any hot spots. We ain't talking Wi-Fi either. So the Marvos RTA Pod can be used with the Marvos 80, S80, Marvos 60 and Marvos T80. Like those systems, it uses magnets to attach to the mod. So don't go trying to use it on a threaded 510 box mod. It ain't gonna work. Let's take a look and see what we get. Great flavour, I hope. It's gonna take something special to beat those T-fibre cotton pre-made coils. Booklet of in-depth instructions showing you how to build on it. Bag of smelling salts to bring you round after failing to build for 1,000 fucking times, and a bag of essentials including a 0.15 and 0.250 mesh strip, a bending tool and a screwdriver, and the all-important RTA pod itself. Looks quite simple and straightforward on the outside, of course. Let's take a bit of a closer look. We've got a removable wide bore drip tip complete with a couple of decent O-rings so it fits nice and snugly. There's two wide adjustable cycloptic airflow slots that channel airflow at an angle down onto the mesh strip. Use the knurling to release the deck from the pod a la quarter turn bayonet style. There's little, if any, doming to the inner chimney, and the tank section is comprised of a very bendy frosted plastic. Quick look at the build deck, and on the underside we've got 4 strong retaining magnets as well as the fill port. It'll be interesting to see how the silicon seal holds up against gravity. Align the deck with the 2 clips on the chimney to reconnect the deck with the pod, and there we have it, a quick look round the Marvos RTA pod. Let's try and build on it. Ha! So a quick look again at the deck, and the juice wells are quite deep. The underside of the fill stopper can be seen, and we've cross-headed screws to release the clamps. There's the all-important spring to hold the cotton firmly up against the mesh. That's going to ensure that we don't get any nasty dry hits or hot spots. Trust me, we don't want any of those. So first things first, we'll unscrew the clamps or release them by using the supplied screwdriver. Why the hell not? Comes with it. Don't unscrew them too much because you're likely to lose the screws inside the deck. They may well come out entirely. But I'm seeing straight away that I've got an issue here because they're not spring-loaded clamps, which means I'm forced to try and use what little fingernail I've got left to release them manually, and in doing so, look, you can see straight away the other side's decided to close up on me. It's not an ideal arrangement. I'd rather that we had spring-loaded clamps. It just makes the whole installation process that little bit easier. So the next thing to do is to take our mesh strip, and with the included bending rod, press each end over the centre of the rod to shape, hold it for a few seconds, and then just simply slide it off. This mesh is very weak and malleable. You'll see what I mean in a hot minute. But the next thing to do is to insert it into the clamps of the deck. So this clip was going to be an outtake, but I think it's important that you see some of the problems that's created by not having a spring-loaded clamp system. Look, just decides it's going to close up on itself. I'm going to try and open it to force it down into the gap. I'm just having a world of issues. Look now how the centre spring has deformed on me. So I'm going to try and unloosen the screw a little bit further, give myself a little bit more real estate to work with, if at all possible. But I just don't like this system. I just don't like it. Again, look, they're closing up. They seem to want to close up. It's just there's just not a lot I can do with it. As I say, this could have been left as an outtake because I'm pretty shitty at building anyway, but you can see the issues that are being caused. Sod it. Once more onto the breach, fellow vapors, as we try once again. You can see now what I mean about this mesh being extremely weak. Doesn't take long to deform it if you can't. So what I ended up doing was installing the mesh off screen. I've got shitty eyesight anyway, to make things a little bit easier for myself. Now we just tighten down the clamps. Don't over tighten them. You don't want to be stripping these screws. They look a little bit on the soft side as well, so just make sure they're more than finger tight, but just don't go mad with them. Ensure that the mesh strip is held firmly in place. Not the most perfectly built, but if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. There you go. And taking my trusty Marvos T 80-watt pen, mod, whatever you want to call it, we will dry fire the mesh, and we can see there she's working a dream. These mesh strips though, they always fucking worry me. There's just always that possibility of a dry hit to worry about. Jeez. So now the all-important part, and we need to make sure that the cotton passes through underneath the arches, underneath the arch of the mesh there, ensuring it's not too tight, but at the same time can't be too loose like it is at the minute. So I'll keep pushing that through. No, it's too loose like that, until you get enough resistance value between the spring-loaded deck and the underside of the mesh. That's looking a bit better. I don't need this pressure on. I don't need this pressure on. I don't need this pressure on. So trim the ends of the cotton back and then gently tickle the ends of the cotton down into the juice wells. It's a bit of an art form. Try and make it as neat as you can, but never forcing it, Try and, as you see, just try and work on the ends. Push the ends of the cotton in and down. And they don't have to reach the very bottom of the juice wells, and that will ensure good capillary action. There you go, there's a good word, capillary, so that the juice can draw up into the cotton, reach the mesh, and Bob's your uncle, or in this case an avid vaper. There we go, that's looking quite neat and tidy, diddly tidy. Now the best thing to do next is to completely saturate, and I mean completely saturate that cotton with your choice of e-liquid. I'm using a lemon meringue, homebrew, so if this vape's shit, we know what to blame it on. My crappy DIY abilities. I'm just going to test fire now, make sure everything seems to be okay, and there we go. I've only got it on mid-strength, it's not the highest setting on the mod. But everything seems to be working. Good-o. And then the next thing is to return the base to the tank section, remembering it's a quarter turn bayonet style. Make sure that is finger tight. And then, here we go again. I haven't got fingernails, so I always use a tool for the job. I am a bit of a tool anyway, but open the fill gasket on the underside of the RTA and gently fill. Yeah, this is going to take a little bit of time, so I think we'll fast forward. Yep. So there we go, a look at how to build on the Freemax Marvos RTA. As you could see, I had a few stumbling blocks along the way, but that's the whole point of this tutorial, to make you aware of any potential issues and that you're not alone. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one. Remember, long live vaping, live longer vaping. What's that noise?